How's it going, y'all? What you just saw is a little snippet from my demo reel that I just posted a few weeks ago. If you haven't seen the full thing, the link is in the description below to watch that. But in this video, we are going to talk about demo reels, and specifically a filmmaker's demo reel. Why you might want to make a demo reel, the process that I go through when I'm creating my demo reel, and what you do with that reel when it's finished. So we'll start things off by talking a little bit about why make a demo reel. Now for me, this time of the year, January, February, is generally pretty slow. I have projects that I'm starting to develop concepts for and pitching ideas, but there's not a lot of shooting going on. A lot of the trails are covered in snow, and clients are figuring out what their budget is for the upcoming year. And so it's a really good time to go through all of my old projects that I've finished over the last few years and start pulling out my favorite shots and my favorite material that I could compile into a reel that I can share on my social media channels. And I think a big part of why I do the reel on a yearly basis is just to become top of mind for people. Now, when you're making a reel, you want to think about the type of reel you're looking to create. Maybe you're a director only, maybe you're a cinematographer only, or maybe you're sort of that one-person show where you kind of do all those different roles. And in my case, that's the type of reel that I am generally creating. I'm doing the direction, I'm doing the cinematography, the concept, and often the visual effects for the projects that I'm working on. And so I try to showcase a little bit of all that in the reel that I'm putting together. Now, when I'm going through my past projects and selecting the shots that I'm going to include in my reel, the first thing in my mind is, are these shots my best work? It's really easy to get emotionally attached to certain shots, but you want to make sure that what you're including is truly your best work from an outsider's point of view. Now, after that, I'm thinking about showing diversity, but at the same time showing that I have focus in what I'm doing. And in my case, I'm kind of centering my reel around outdoor adventure content. So this might be mountain biking, this might be hiking in the backcountry, could be forest and land conservation projects, things that are showing the beauty of nature. So that's the container that I work within, and that's the work that I want people to think of me for when they're looking to hire somebody. I'm out there doing other projects to make the bills work and fill in my budget throughout the year, which might be product stuff or shooting things for local businesses, but that's not what I'm highlighting in my reel. My reel is really the type of work that I want to be getting, and I want to show my focus, but also my range within that. And so I show action shots, I show shots that are a little bit more documentary in nature, I show shots that are very still and well composed, and then other shots that have lots of camera movement. So just trying to get enough diversity in there that the reel isn't boring to watch, and it also showcases my abilities in a variety of circumstances. Now, once I've pulled all of my footage that I might want to include in my reel, I drop it onto a timeline, and it's time to find my music. The music ends up guiding the pace and the flow of the edit quite a bit, and with that, I'll usually choose something that has a little bit of energy to it, just to kind of keep the driving movement of an action sport-based edit pushing forward. Lately, I've been working with MusicBed because I really like their platform. I think they've got the best music available. So I go there, pick a few different songs that I think might work, and start dropping them into my timeline and see how it feels with the different pieces that I've selected. And for the demo reel that I just put together, I had tried another song that had a bit of a different flow to it, didn't really work for me, and then I landed on the song that I ended up using, and the edit just started to come together in a way that felt powerful and made it easy, essentially, to get the pacing to work right. As I'm selecting my soundtrack, I'm thinking if there are high points and low points in that music, that's going to allow for some flow in my edit. So it's not just constantly banging you in the face with shot after shot after shot. I want some moments where I can let it breathe a little bit. And with that, you're thinking about, what is the story of your piece? An average story is going to have this slow build. You're developing characters, you're going up and up and up to this point of climax, and then there's resolution. With a demo reel, it's a little bit different. You're going to need to capture people's interest right from the beginning. So you want to make sure the beginning is going to allow for some of your best footage to be showcased in the first 10 seconds or so, because people are going to click in, they're going to maybe watch it, and if they aren't captured right away, they're going to move right on. I had originally chosen a shot for the beginning of my reel that visually I liked, but it was just too slow, and it didn't really hook people people in. And so I swapped that shot out, and it completely changed that pacing of the beginning of the reel and made all the difference for hooking that viewer at the beginning and getting them to follow through with the rest of the viewing experience. So don't save your best shots for the end. Make sure that you're sprinkling them throughout, but also make sure you're really packing the front end, I would say the front 10 to 30 seconds, with your best stuff in case people don't finish watching the whole thing. Now, when you're starting to organize your shots, beyond picking the best stuff to put at the very beginning, you need to think about how can you create a bit of tension and create some action and moments to breathe and take in what they just saw. And so in my case, I was mixing cable camera shots that have lots of movement with slower moving drone shots or some static shots, and trying to spread out the bike heavy content, which is a large portion of what I shoot, throughout the whole reel, blending in some of the other stuff that I do, thinking about ways to sort of tell a story with the movement of the camera or the framing of the shot. If you have any shots that can have matching cuts in terms of lighting or composition, I think that can be really good to do. I stay away from any sort of fancy transitions and just let the footage speak for itself and allow it to tell the story. Now, with any reel, I think you're trying to keep it under the 2-minute mark. I think 1 to 2 minutes is the ideal. You don't want people to get bored by the end of the reel. You want them to be wanting more. You want them to go to your website, watch your full films because they just couldn't get enough from watching the reel alone. In my case, with the music that I chose, I was able to get something around the 2-minute and 15-second mark, I believe, which is a little longer than I wanted, but it had the right sort of pacing to make that work. Now, once I have a basic idea of what I want, there's gonna be probably some clips that I'm still going to change out. I will send that reel out to a handful of folks, maybe 4 to 5 folks that I trust their opinion, and say, look at this. Do any of these shots seem boring to you? Do any of them not stand out? And really take that feedback to heart, because you get attached to your own shots and it's hard to make those critical decisions of like, oh, I gotta take this one out. And you can either make your reel shorter by removing that, or you could swap another shot in that maybe you were on the fence about. And I did this with a handful of folks, had some critical feedback, such as changing the first shot in the reel to something that had more action, and I really value all those opinions. So it's a big step of the process, is make sure that somebody else sees it and you're just not too close to your work and those editing decisions that you're making. Now, after I've gotten all that feedback, made my final tweaks in what the visuals are going to look like, I like to put time into sound design. Some people just do a reel that's their visuals with music, but I think if you add that extra layer of bike sounds, forest sounds, ambient noises, things like that, it really brings it to the next level and immerses the viewer in that experience that much more. At the end of the day, it's more than just a compilation of your shots. It's a story of your work. It's sharing what you can bring to a client, and you want to make that as immersive and representative of how you create your projects as possible. In my situation, I usually will just work with all my Premiere files open from past projects, and I can just borrow that sound design that I've already done and just get it lined up in the new project and adjust the levels as needed. So it's not that much more work to do, but I think it brings your reel up to the next level. Once my reel is finished, the first place I put it is on my website. This means that anybody that lands on my page is going to quickly get a snapshot of my most up-to-date projects and see what I'm capable of doing. After that, it goes onto all my social media channels. I push it out onto Instagram. And an area that I've actually found really helpful to share it is with the camera groups that you might have on Facebook or other forums you might be on, because people want to see what others are doing with their cameras. And you can get a lot of new engagement with your channel, a lot of new engagement with your other social media from people that are using that same type of equipment as you. And who knows, down the line, that could lead to a second shooting opportunity or just new networking opportunities. I know some people will send it out to production companies they might want to work with. Say you're a cinematographer or a director, it can act as a little bit of a resume. I haven't done a whole lot of that myself, but it's something that if you're trying to drum up new work in a more targeted way, using your reel as your business card essentially is an amazing way to get people to see what you're capable of right out the gate in a visual way. So I hope this video inspires you to take a crack at making a new demo reel if you haven't done one in a while. I think it's a really great opportunity to look at all of your work in full and acts as a bit of a time capsule. If you want to look back at previous years of your filmmaking career, you can see that growth and the change in how you shot things and the type of projects you were doing. So if only for yourself, make a demo reel and upload it onto your social media, because it's a fun thing to look back on. So thank you for watching. Until the next video, get out there, make something beautiful, and I'll see y'all soon.